Hello. I'm so happy. I don't know what to say. So, welcome. Welcome to this first fun conversation with Hot Seaters. My name is Geneviève or Genevieve Young. And I'm so happy I received this inspiration not long ago of doing those fun conversations with people that had been in the hot seat. So I've been in the hot seat 4 or 5 times, I can't recall. And that was such a great experience. And people would come to me and ask me, what happened afterwards? Did you do what Abraham told you to do? Have you seen any differences in your life? Did something change in your life? So every time it was always an amazing experience. And I thought, I want to speak with those hot seaters and see what happened in their life. Did they change their own perspectives? Because this is something that happens very often. Have they learned something extremely good that now they're sharing to others? And so that's why I really wanted to have those beautiful conversations. So first, and also I want you to know that I love asking questions. So I'm a journalist, I'm a TV host, and this is something I enjoy doing. I love and I resonate with the teachings of Abraham and the law of attraction. So this is why I really wanted to have those type of conversations to keep the conversation to a high frequency, something that is fun, something that we can learn from, something that we can expand from. So, this is why I'm doing this. So, first of all, please meet Gina Mallison. She's my first guest today. She's been in the hot seat recently with the Alaska cruise. Hello, Gina.
Hello. Good to be here.
So, yeah, I'm so happy you're there. So happy you accepted this invitation of having this fun conversation with me. So, tell me a little bit more about your, I would say maybe meeting with the teachings of Abraham. How did you discover the teachings of Abraham?
I discovered them about 6 years ago, just a little over 6 years ago. And of course, it happened at the perfect time in my life. It was when I had the most desire because I was in the very most contrast I'd ever been in. In the year or two leading up to discovering them. My perfect on the outside looking life started like crumbling down like a deck of cards. I got a divorce. I lost my job. I was a single mom, like about to have to move back in with my parents. I was literally a couple of weeks from having to do that. And I ended up scraping up the last little money I had. And I took this course in something called NLP, hypnotherapy, and Reiki. And I had already been familiar with The Secret, was not yet familiar with Abraham Hicks, but I knew about The Secret. And when I was in that course, I realized like this is the secret to the secret because it really taught you how to tune into emotions. And what I know now, it taught me how to calibrate. And so I went a couple weeks in that course and I got really, really into law of attraction because knowing, okay, this is the secret to the secret. So I went online and tried to find all the information about law of attraction that I could. And of course, then I came across the teachings of Abraham Hicks and it was instant resonance. Like, you can just feel it in your bones. It's like,
Exactly.
it's not like there's so much like nonsense out there about law of attraction,
Yeah.
but like what comes from Abraham is like so legit. It is like, and so I just dove right in. By now I'm well over 10,000. I haven't counted it, but I can guarantee you over 10,000 hours of listening to YouTube clips and listening to their books over and over and over and over. I just knew like there was nothing more important for me to focus on in terms of learning something to master than this. And instantly, you'll hear me talk about it in my hot seat with Abraham, but my life immediately took a 180-degree turn. Within 3 weeks, I met the man of my dreams, like straight out of my vortex. All my financial problems were gone. I got a job within a couple of days of deciding to get one. I got promoted 3 months later. I've been on over 50 vacations in the last 6 years. I mean, the abundance that has flowed to me, not only with money and experience, but relationships and friendships and connections, and just like literally just all the goodies out of my vortex, but with such ease, no more effort and struggle. That's what my house, it was like a deck of cards, you know, the house of
Yeah.
cards life that was built on struggle and effort and strategy and manipulation. No more of that. Now it's all about tuning my vibration and allowing this delicious life to unfold for me with ease and predictability, in like the sense that like it's all about alignment. And I know how to tune myself now. And
Mm,
so it's unquestionable that my life will just keep getting better and better and better. There's no
yeah.
like shoe gonna drop moment or anything like that that ever crosses my mind. It just keeps,
Magnificent. So just
yeah.
before we get into the how you're doing it or the
Mhm.
processes that you could maybe share with
Yes,
others,
would
I
love.
would like us to look at your hot seat.
Love it.
And I have to say that this comes from Animated Abraham, and
Yes.
it's wonderfully done.
Yes.
And we always have to mention that the copyrights belong to Abraham Hicks and Jerry and Esther Hicks, of course. So let's take a look at that magnificent hot seat, and then we'll be back together to ask questions. And I'd like to let the audience know that if you're live right now, you could maybe just say a little hello in the comments so we can see you. But also by the end of this live stream, you'll be able to ask questions in like around 12:20 or so. So we will be answering your questions. So let's take a look at that hot seat. See you after.
You ready to go? Start right here, front row, right here.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool because I just want to be up in this chair. And I was thinking, I was going through my mind, like, well, what would I have valuable to ask or say? I just want to be up in this chair. And I've been feeling so worthy, so steady in my worthiness that I could just want to be up in this chair and say hi and thank you. And I love you. And my life is amazing. My life is so amazing. I found your teachings 6 years ago when I was at my lowest low, and it was an instant 180, and the trending that my life has been having and the speed at which everything is picking up, and my steadiness and my knowing of all is well for me and for everybody, and my worthiness and everybody's worthiness, and my ability.
Are you watching her receiving?
My ability to have what I want and not have to earn it or deserve it. To, when I hear in my head of, either in my head or reflection from somebody of, you should do this, you need to do that, my knowing that that's when, for sure, not that, what do I want to do? And to do that. And allow things to just magically appear in my lap.
Magically is a fine word. Let's add logically to that.
Yeah. Oh,
Let's
yeah.
add normally to that. It's just the way it goes, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And I love it. And I love you. And
Yeah. Really good.
thank you.
Yeah. Really good. There it is. All right, there's too much happiness in this room. Our friend didn't have a question, but she's the most important thing that's happened in the seminar so far, maybe all week long, because she demonstrated her natural and easy connection with who she is, and she demonstrated it with a flow that was delightful in every way. She's an example of everything that everyone wants.
Beautiful. Yeah. So, okay. Abraham says that you were like in a natural and easy connection to who you are. So, how does that happen? Like, how do you let this be your state of being?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
very practice. I've been practicing over the last 6 years of how to really connect with who I am, and it's really been the last like year especially that I can just get there like that so easily. And a big part of it is just getting out of your head. Like that's how I ended up getting in the hot seat. Like I mentioned in the hot seat, I was like sitting there. I wanted to be in the hot seat. I was like, what could I ask? And I had one question or I had one thing and one thing I could just say. And it just felt a little off. I was too like in my head trying to be strategic and and finally I was like, I just want to be in the hot seat. And when I recognized that desire, that pure desire, like that felt like boom, alignment. Get rid of like, what am I going to say to her? Anything.
Yeah.
And just connect with the knowing I want to be in the hot seat. And I knew, like, I literally knew that I was going to be the next one called on. I raised my hand. She pointed right at me. And so I went up there not knowing what to say, except I just want to be in this hot seat. And because it was just that pure desire. I just felt so good that then you could kind of tell in the beginning, I was just like a little bit nervous. And then when I just looked at her and I just said, thank you and I love you, it just started flowing. Like none of that stuff I said was pre-planned at all. It was just the connection with like I really have developed over the last 6 years this knowing that it's all feelings, like it's your emotions, but your feelings and how you feel in your body. It's not about trying to make something happen up here. And so when you're feeling this way and you just allow yourself to flow without filtering your words or trying to have an agenda to your words, it then just flows. And I just connected to what I really know is like all is well for everybody. Cause that's the thing that the little thought in my head was like, who am I to just want to get in the hot seat and like take up this time with everybody in the auditorium having a question, but that knowing that all is well for everybody. Like I'm not taking away from anybody, that everybody is worthy just like I am. So if somebody wants to get in the hot seat, they can too. And so that just started flowing out for me. And then to have Abraham interrupt me to say, are you watching her receiving? I was just like, you know, like so I have my own private Abrahams, I call them, that because wouldn't everybody love to have like one-on-one sessions with Abraham, but you can't, right? So I found two people that channel infinite intelligence, just like Esther does with Abraham. One is Costa, which you're going to have.
That will be a guest this Thursday. Yeah, he's coming.
He channels Viola, which stands for We All Are One. So he started channeling last year after the Caribbean cruise. I met him on the cruise. And so I do private sessions with him. And then a channel that I've been using for the last 3 years named Ramona Gailey, who channels Oprah. I forget where I'm going with this, but I asked both of them, like, so what is it? Because it was just like, I didn't think of myself up there channeling or receiving, but they just let me know of like what it was that I'm doing. Was I just really was connecting at that highest level, that broad perspective that all is well, and feeling it, not just saying it, all is well and I'm worthy and everybody's worthy, but I was feeling it and knowing it, and it was just flowing. And I think that's where that came from.
And probably the releasing of resistance, because asking questions in your head about what am I going to say, what am I going to do, or who am I to think I can get there. And as soon as you release those resistance, you're in the receiving mode, and your vibration really rises. That's fun. So okay, so I want to talk about worthiness, because this is something you master. You really do master. I can tell. I could, when I first time I listened to your hot seat, I was like, oh my God, she's really aligned with herself. Like when Abraham talks about selfishness or being really aligned to who you are, this is something I think you master. So how did you get there? Because probably some people are right now in the situations that you were, like, no money, trying to find out how can I get my life getting better? How can I get more abundance in my life? So what can you talk to us about your steps, your own
Yes.
processes that you integrated in your life that really helped you.
Yes, for sure. So, what I want to say, one thing is that it's a journey about feeling more and more into your worthiness in kind of more incremental steps. And the one thing that I'm really aware of is that there's no limit to how much more worthy you can feel. Like, I'm at a place of really high worthiness in a lot of different areas of my life, but there's still some areas, well, all areas I can get even more worthy. So it's a continual process. But I will tell you, it was right out of the gates, when I learned this stuff and I had been practicing feeling high vibrations, using these techniques that I discovered and fine tuning them. And then I met my now husband 3 weeks later. That was a big challenge in a way to my worthiness. Like, in all my other relationships, I was always like the breadwinner, or, like, my value was based on like how much money I was bringing in, or how beautiful I could be, or all these different things that could justify me receiving. But I was in the lowest low place. Like, I literally was about to have to move back with my parents. I had like $6,000 or $7,000 in like expenses every month that were like unquestionable. And here comes Ian, my amazing husband now, and says, "Oh no, you're no girlfriend of mine is moving back into the." He took care of all my bills. I got to, like, that was a huge, like, it was very hard for me to accept that initially. And I just, it felt really uncomfortable. And I don't know what to say of how I did it, except what it is about noticing when you're in the feelings in your body of feeling uncomfortable about receiving something like that. It's about soothing the feelings, not trying to take a different action. And so, like, I mean,
instead of going against, or instead of trying to prove your worthiness, I guess,
exactly.
Yeah. Because as a woman, I would have probably had a lot of resistance and saying like, "Hey, I can manage this, and I don't need no." Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and it's funny because, like, literally, I had heard this hot seat over a year ago, and it just ran across my radar on YouTube like a couple days ago. There was this girl that was in the hot seat that was saying that she wants to allow more abundance. And then, like, they had this whole conversation on allowing money. And then she goes, "Oh, by the way, I just started dating this guy who's a multimillionaire." And Abe was like, "It sounds like your abundance issues are taken care of." But she was like, "No, but it's coming through him, not through me." And I think that's a big bugaboo for people of like, "No, but I want the abundance to come from me, from the job I'm doing, or from me winning the lotto," but not accepting, like, opening up to abundance can come from anywhere. And to not feel bad or guilty or shame, like, that was like, it was guilt and shame and embarrassment were the strong vibrations I had at the time. And so I did the work to soothe that and allow myself to receive this wild abundance that was being like, and it was bringing him joy to like help me out, And so, so as I soothed those feelings in my body and allowed it, it just got better and better and better for both of us. The amount of abundance in our lives together now is, I know, a direct result for me feeling worthy enough to receive it. And
amazing. And I know Abraham always says, it's not like a college degree. It's not something that once you know how to do it, it's there forever. So, So how do you manage those, I would say, maybe like slippery moments, when because I guess you're human like everyone, and sometimes you go into your old habits. So do you have anything to share about that you do as a process, or that you
it's a big part of it is catching it early. Like so in a given day, like I will say, like, I am constantly aware of my emotions. And so even more than I am my thoughts. Like, for me, it's easier. And I think for most people, it is easier to notice like a feeling of discomfort or urgency than it is to realize, oh, I'm thinking like there's a time limit on something. And so I'm really sensitive to my feelings, and I have a really high standard for feeling really good. So as soon as I notice I'm slipping, like I've gotten to a place where I can just sit here and close my eyes, and also not even have to close my eyes, and just, but oftentimes closing your eyes is really good because it gets rid of like the looking outside of you.
Yeah.
And I focus all my attention in my body, and I breathe, and I settle myself down, and I allow myself to connect with the knowing. At first it feels like a memory, but it's a knowing that I connect with of all is well, and it just instantly soothes me. But I've been able to get to this point because over the years I've done these processes that maybe I'll have a chance to share, to calibrate myself away from a wobbly negative emotion, stop that momentum, stop any action, stop any thought, close my eyes, focus and breathe. And some people like to meditate. For me, I got in a really good practice of meditating, but now I don't need to like formally meditate. I can really just pause and close my eyes and breathe and soothe the sensations in my body. As you get more in your discernment of how emotions show up in your feelings, like, and like know that like a feeling of free is generally like this opening, free flowing feeling. Of peace is, for me, it's like this soothing downward, like slowing down. So I'm really familiar with what these yummy good feelings feel like. I can just tune myself there very easily, but it's because of the work I've done of like taking a not so good emotion that's gotten a lot of momentum and feels really, really awful. My knowing that for sure, like, it's interesting. If somebody gets really twirled up in like a wobble, an icky feeling that has icky thoughts to it, like there's such an impulse to try to take action to fix the problem, or to think about it, to try to find the solution by thinking about it. And I know for sure there's no benefit in doing that. There's only going downward more. And so that's that whole thing, is I know to catch it early and not have my thoughts go there, not have something come out my mouth or an action to try to stop that, because that will actually increase the momentum of the unwanted. So it's over time, I've come to know for absolute certainty there's no value in digging in as soon as I feel uncomfortable. It's about unfocusing and going really general and focusing on the well-being that abounds. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. And then do you focus on things that you want, or things that you love, or things that you appreciate already in your life, or you just stay in a general state?
So yeah. So the place to go first is that really general place.
Yeah.
And then I might start to become a little bit more focused on things that are going well. But
Yeah.
generally, I think sometimes people try to focus positively too soon before they go real general, and it still has some of those lackful thoughts, or they're trying to focus positively to like undo the negative focus. And so I found that when I just go general and I just connect with the all is well, and just the knowing that really the all is well. And then when I come back from unfocusing from that, I just ask, well, what do I feel like doing next? Like the momentum will pick up on its own as I tap into those general feelings. Like it's like I have these like little colored glasses in my drawer here to like, it's like as soon as I go general and I just feel good in a general way, now I've got these like good like filters on.
I love them. I love them. Yeah.
I don't have to effort hard to look for things to appreciate. They just
It's a
show
good
up real
idea.
easily. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's a good trick. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just before we finish our little interview, I'd like to have your own definition of worthiness. What is for you? What does it mean? Like, and that definition, I'd like you to put it into a perspective of the law of attraction. Really, like, what does it mean when you can feel that worthiness? What's that definition for you?
Worthiness for me, it really comes into play a lot of times when again, like my mind might first start trying to chew on something because there's something that I want. My monkey mind is like, how to get it? What do I need to do? And worthiness comes into play right then when I'm realizing I'm trying to be strategic, or what action should I take, or when or how. And I tap back into the worthiness of, I don't need to think about that.
Yeah.
I'm worthy enough that I can have the desire come to me without me doing anything. And so I'm worthy
Mm.
enough to not have to focus on that. I can go back and just allow myself to feel good. I am so worthy. I can take my mind off of that thing and feel good and milk that good feeling, and then focus on something that feels good, and be so worthy that that thing that I wanted that was will come to me. It'll come to me in a way better than I could have ever even imagined. Right. So
I
it's,
love it.
I'm
Yeah.
worthy enough not to have to think about something to try to make it happen. Yeah.
Good definition. I love that. Thank you so much. We have a little, like, we have some comments. I'm gonna put them right there on the screen so you can see
Karen,
them.
hi
So
Karen.
Karen says, "I loving this so darn
Yeah,
good."
not done much.
Yay! Thank you,
So good.
Karen. Kevin, congrats
Kevin.
on kicking off this wonderful series, Gina and Genevieve. Thank you, Kevin.
Oh,
Thank you
love you,
so much.
Kevin.
Yeah. And then,
Anya!
yay, you know them all. Yeah, that's perfect.
Stephanie, my bestie.
Tiffany, yeah, I love this. Thank you. Thank you. That's so much fun. So there's, I think, a
Yes.
quote you said, there's no
Yes.
limit to how much more
Yes.
worthiness you can feel.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's so
With
good.
every good feeling, there's no limit to the amount of love you can feel or bliss you can feel. Like, literally, it's eternal. You reach this new level. Like, I didn't even know it was possible to feel this blissful. And then a month later, as you practice to tuning to good emotions, like, you feel even a whole nother level of it. It just blows your mind.
Thank you for sharing that. I love it. Yeah. So
Kelly.
Kelly, she's the woohoo, Gina. Great talk from a Facebook user. Thank you so much. Yeah, yeah. Worthy
Yes.
enough to not have to even think about it. Love it. Yes,
Yes.
yes. Many good quotes are coming out of this interview. Thank you so much, Gina. That was
Yes.
wonderful. I'm worthy enough
Yes.
not to have to think about something to make it happen.
That is just so big. It is so big.
Yeah, oh, I love it. So if you have any questions, we could answer them with pleasure. So you can just write them down in the comments and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Gina, that's so amazing. I love the way you integrated everything and master it too, like to be able to go into a general state when things are going crazy around us
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
something to practice, as you
Yes, and
said.
everybody can do it, and it just takes
Yeah,
practice, and it's maybe not easy
exactly.
right away, but it gets easier and easier and easier and easier, and then you get more determined not to have those wonky things even around you. I remember a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I ended up, like, cleaning up. I really enjoy going to Facebook, but like 3 years ago, that I would still get. I had a pretty clean Facebook, but I would still get like some wonky ads. Ads would activate like lack in me, and so like I went. It took me like 2 or 3 days, but like I went and I unfollowed or hid or deleted or whatever. And so like I'm worthy enough to not have to pay attention to anything that doesn't feel good. Like,
Yeah, yeah, that's a
and
good
to
thing too. Yeah.
just get anything that would be wobbly away from me and find my steadiness. I'm sure Costa will talk about this next week, being able to really find your steadiness. And now I'm so steady that those things that I previously would have blocked away from me, I can actually see or witness and it not knock me off. Like, I'm unwobbable. Is what my other coach
Mm,
Oprah and I coined the term, unwobbable.
yeah.
It takes a lot to wobble me. And if I'm reaching a point where I'm about to maybe be wobbled, I can really sense like a crack in my steadiness. Then I know to unfocus and move away from that. Again, my standards of feeling good are so high, I can sense it earlier on before I keep poking my attention in that direction.
Yeah, that's great. Because you were always also telling me that you're not working a lot. You're really like, and abundance comes to you. You're not doing. I mean, like, you're not in the action mode that much, and you feel that
The
abundance.
action that I do take is pure bliss. Like I work other people's standards. Like I'm a coach, and I, like, this week I have like 22 appointments, but every single session is so life-giving. It gives me, like, basically I get an opportunity for me in a session with a client to connect with the well-being and that general, like, I don't consider myself a channel like Esther. Like, I don't kind of go away. I'm very involved, but I get to flow my knowing with my clients. And so it's life-giving. It's not work. It's fun. It's enjoyable. Every session I have with a client, I expand more, and I get to witness them expanding more and coming more into their knowing. It's the most fun thing in the world. And the abundance that comes is like, it doesn't really make logical sense how much abundance is coming from how much work we're doing, because we're playing. We're playing
Exactly. Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much, Gina. That was, I mean, the most interesting first fun conversation I could think of.
Yay!
So yay!
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for being there. So that was such a pleasure to meet you also, because we had not met like in a physical virtual way, whatever, but
it's our first time actually talking. It was just messages before.
Exactly.
So I will say, like, since I didn't get a chance to like share this process, it's my desire for everybody in the world who has a desire to learn how to do this work in a really effective way of like calibrating their vibration or tuning into good emotions. On my YouTube channel, there's lots of videos you can go, and there's instructions, and you can see examples of somebody in a wobble where they're crying or they're just feeling awful, and 10 minutes later they're so connected to source. When they look at that same subject, they're flowing the clarity that's from their inner being on that topic. So that's a free resources for anybody that wants to learn about the evoke method of calibration and tuning. It's out there for you to find.
Thanks for mentioning that. So your YouTube channel is your name, Gina Mallison?
Gina Mallison.
Good. Perfect. So thank you. And to all of you listening, we'll be back on Thursday with Costa. This week, October 21st at noon Eastern time. So thanks again, Gina. Sending you much love. And stay tuned for the next fun conversation with the hot seater. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.